Cheers.
And salutations or something. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
I decided that Matt had his night of drinking, so tonight is mine.
I do think that I should say that since we've been doing these podcasts and I've always got a big drink with me, that I don't want to give people the wrong impression. Like I'm not drinking like this every night. Like I drink during the podcast, and then I mean there are weeks when I might have a couple of drinks throughout the week. I get on like occasionally I'll be like, oh, I'm going to have a little tequila every night or something. But normally that's about it, just during the podcast. So
yeah, I've decided that I'm going to have a glass of wine every night. It probably won't happen.
Wow.
But so we've been to St. Augustine a couple times, and also, sorry, hello everyone that's out there. I'm not just talking to talk, except I am.
Wow.
We've been to St. Augustine a couple times. And the San Sebastian winery is like wonderful and lovely, and they give you like free samples along the tour, sort of tour. It's like a free sample tour.
Yeah.
And they have a red wine that is like the best red wine ever.
And UB40 plays. Red wine. That's not actually true. They don't play. I don't even like that song. I don't know why. It's okay, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah. So every time we go up to St. Augustine, we go to San Sebastian, and then like we buy the bottle of port because it's delicious. And then we usually buy 2 or 3 bottles of this red because it's not crazy expensive.
No, it's very affordable.
And
the port, you mentioned the port.
Yeah, the port's like $20, and the red wine is like $10. So it's like it's all very reasonably priced for a really good tasting wine.
What kind of red is it?
It's
called the Vinters red, right?
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
It's a sweet red blend.
Yeah.
But it's so someone at work gave me a bottle of red from a place called Cooper's Hawk, which is a winery here, and I had a glass of it last night, and it's a fine red blend,
it's like a normal. I don't know my wine, so I'm going to sound stupid, but it's like a drier red wine. It's good. It's the kind of red wine that I would like enjoy with like a dinner.
Yeah, it's not something that I want to drink all the time, but it's fine. But it made me think. I was like, oh, I kind of like having this glass of wine, here and there. So I was looking at the San Sebastian winery to see if they could deliver like a few bottles to me. And when I was looking it up, I saw that Total Wine had it. So.
Totally.
As we were watching Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, I looked at Matt and said, let's stop this and go to Total Wine. So
she stopped. Can I just say, she stopped a Harry Potter movie to go get wine. That's the kind of lush we're dealing with here. And let's just say hi to, I think we said hi to everybody, but not everybody. So let's say hi to everybody. Hello, Meg. And we've got, of course, got the Professor Travel, our special guest tonight. He will be
Spoiler.
On. Well, there's a picture of him in the thumbnail. I don't think that's a spoiler. We've got MGM Travel here. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We've got Stacy. Hello, Stacy. We went to Gran Agave, where we went with you and Gina when you guys are down here. Had some good Mexican food. We've got Mallory in here. Hey, Mallory. How you doing? Kevin Counts, Bonbini, Kevin Counts. What do you say? We got double boosted today, and we are ready to partay like a rock star. We got pizza and lasagna and Geritol and Alka-Seltzer. Okay, that's a lot of stuff, but that's awesome. That sounds good. Let's see. Paul Vines. Hello, Paul. Welcome. We got Mama Sandy in here. Hello, Mama Sandy. Or as I like to just call her, Mom. Hello, Mom. Mother. I don't usually say mother. Mother. It makes me feel like what's his face from Psycho. Mother. What's his? Oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy, the character from Psycho.
I've never seen Psycho.
Norman Bates.
Oh, yeah. Like Bates Motel.
Yes. That's what that's from.
But you didn't say Bates Motel.
Okay, but
I could have gotten it for that.
Is Psycho.
But Bates Motel is like a show, right?
Yes, based off of the film Psycho.
Okay.
And it's not because you're younger than me, because Psycho came out before I was born. So.
Yeah, which means it was really, really old when I was
all right. It's not like a silent film or something like that. Yes, mother does sound weird. Mother. Actually, you know what? Well, no, that's mommy. There was like when they started remaking Doctor Who, there was an episode where they were like, "Are you my mommy? Are you my mommy?" It's very creepy.
I'm gonna end up refilling this glass before we start.
What is the name of the wine? Says Kevin Counts.
It's San Sebastian Vinters Red.
Vinters
Here,
Red.
let me bring up a picture.
San Sebastian's Vinters Red. I don't think that's probably the right accent. Yeah, San Sebastian's Vinters Red. That was my attempt at a French accent. Don't make fun of my outrageous accent or I'll taunt you a second time. I apologize to any French people who might be watching.
I'm going to share.
I do have one French friend. One French friend who I met in 2017 this week. And that was during Croc School, which I keep getting Facebook reminders of. Maybe you've seen me post like some of the things because it was like this amazing week. But anyway, there was my friend I met who was there from France. I sat on a like a 12-foot alligator with him. How many people can say that? That we pulled out of the water and tied up in a gentle way and then sat on him.
I mean, I sit on alligators every day.
Do you?
No.
There you go. I don't know if everybody has a Total Wine. I know it's a chain that is fairly widespread.
But that doesn't mean that
I don't know if it's
all
everywhere.
Total Wines are going to have this wine.
That's
either.
true, because Florida's got some weird rules about moving alcohol in and out.
Yeah,
it's like really weird wine rules.
But if you do have access to this wine,
are you my mommy?
I highly recommend
episode,
it.
Right?
It is delicious.
Okay. Hey, Todd, did I bring it? I didn't bring him in here. I was going to bring him in here. Todd, I got something in the mail from you today. Some more of those little Vegemite crackers. Thank you. I did. The first box has been gone for a while. I do not expect those kinds of treasures to show up in the mailbox, but it is a delight when they do. So thank you so much for that,
Will
Todd.
you grab that keychain right over there?
This one?
Yeah. I'm going to show it off because I think it's really cool. So last weekend.
On sale. It was on sale.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Good to know.
Last weekend, we went to Dave & Buster's for my friend's birthday party. He was turning 38. They rented a birthday party room. It was a blast.
It was fun. We enjoyed it.
But like Friday night, Matt said, "Are you going to get him a present?" And I was like, "No." So then, of course, Saturday morning, I'm like, maybe I should do something. So I decided to print him something on the 3D printer. I don't have that with me because I gave it to him. But I also, which way does it go? This way? I also printed this D&D logo thing and put a keychain on it.
Here, let me do this.
But it turned out to look kind of cool.
Tell me if it comes in focus. Focus?
No. I think you're too close.
Am I too close?
Yeah. There we go.
Right there?
Yep. But it's nope. There we go. Perfect. This is quality podcasting right here. So yeah, it was supposed to be more red, but I didn't mix enough of the red dye into it. So now it's kind of like a weird skin gray color, like a peachy gray pink, weird.
It just looks mostly gray to
me.
I mean, it's
not what it was supposed to be, but that's fine.
It looks like gray that maybe you had some Kool-Aid in the cup. And
yes,
it just kind of
that's exactly what it looks like. Like I dropped it into the Kool-Aid cup. You know what, Meg? You're right. That is a great looking background. I agree. Shift some things around.
Anyway, we got a fun show tonight because we have the Professor Travel, Scott Saltman, on tonight, and that's going to be a blast, talking about his recent cruise with his husband going out of Puerto Rico to all the Southern Caribbean islands.
Here, Matt.
Was going to send you guys Satan's toe candy, But you do not seem like the spicy food eaters. Oh, Todd. Oh, Todd. She is not the spicy food eater.
I mean, I like buffalo sauce.
I go through jars of jalapenos this big, like on a weekly basis.
It's not entirely true.
But almost. I go through a lot of them.
Okay.
I love the spice. Now, when I was younger, I ate spicy for the sake of eating spicy. It was one of the few like kind of macho things. Like I was thinking about this today. Spencer Scott posted a picture of him because he's a police officer now in like Orlando or something, and he was like catching an alligator. It was like a 5-foot alligator, 6-foot alligator or something. And so I like posted a picture of me sitting on the 12-foot alligator with my friend from France. And I was like, oh, that's a cute little alligator. And I was like, wow, that was a very like kind of macho testosterone-y thing for me to do, which is really out of character for me for the most part. Like that's not really who I am.
You're definitely my macho man.
I'm not, am I? But that's where I can flex my muscle. And then the other place I can flex my muscle is and I did say muscle because there's only one.
Matt is macho.
Yes, yes. Let's just leave that up for the whole show. Is spicy stuff because I can put away some spice, but I nowadays I go for the flavor end of it, but I do like a good burn. I do enjoy a good burn, but yeah.
All right, Matt.
Oh, look at that. Todd likes spicy too. Yeah. I love it. Like
you have overtalked your boundaries. It's time.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So for those of you that have never joined us before, which all of you that are currently here, I think have, but for anybody that's watching in the future and have never watched us before, we are going to start the podcast here in a minute. And, yeah, do the podcast thing for about an hour and then we'll chit chat at the end. Okay.
And thank you, Meg, for putting that up.
Yes.
By the way.
Come with me, we're going on a fantastic cruise. Pick your destination with news, tips, and reviews. But here is an item you might not have thought of. All of the things under the water. Nature surrounds us with elegant features. You can't go on a cruise and not see the creatures. So let's make some magic, let's get ecstatic. Instantly classic, maybe romantic. The wildlife around you, cinematic on your fantastic cruise.
Bon Beanie, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Fintastic Cruising. I'm Matt.
And I'm Kimbra.
And we have a fun episode for you tonight because we have a special guest, one of our favorite people. And might I say, he is going to be on the group cruise.
The group cruise.
That's your segue.
Well, Matt, speaking of the group cruise.
The group cruise?
The group cruise. Hey, did you know that we have a group cruise going out next March 2023? On the Carnival Pride out of Tampa?
Do we?
We do.
Do we now?
Guess where it's going?
I don't know.
Let me tell you. It's going to Grand Cayman, Roatan, Belize, and Cozumel.
That is awesome. That sounds like a great group cruise.
I know. And it's going out of our hometown, Tampa.
That means there's possible places we can do things beforehand. That sentence didn't work.
Do you know how this cruise can be booked?
I think you can email fintastictravel@gmail.com.
You're right. You can email fintastictravel@gmail.com to go on our group cruise.
That bad acting was not planned.
Nope. We should do it like that every week.
Oh, God. No. No. Thank you, Stacy. Hello, Kenny, Kenneth. Which do you prefer? I never know what to say, Kenny or Kenneth. And then I called you Ken, which is completely different and probably totally wrong. So, yes. Yes, book the group cruise. Scott Saltzman, who is the Professor Travel, who is our special guest tonight, is, and Kimber's like, spoiler, and I'm like, he's on the thumbnail. He is going to be on this group cruise with his husband, and they are lovely people, as well as Meg, who is in the crowd here. Do we have any other people that are going on the group cruise that are in
Todd.
Todd is going on the group cruise.
You know who's not going on the group cruise that's in this chat?
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We said Meg, right? My mom, Miss Sandy Shelsky, Mama Sandy, and where is she? Mallory and Andrew.
Yes, and anyone that we did not say is not going yet.
What?
Anybody that's in the chat right now that we did not say
chat. I'm
is
like,
not
there's
going
other people going
yet.
I'm like making sure we didn't miss anybody here.
But they could book fintastictravel@gmail.com.
Okay, that's enough of the commercial.
Okay.
I think we should stop with the commercial. But
anything else you want to talk about?
So no, I don't think so. Let's just get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
No point wasting time.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Are you ready? I think he's ready.
I am ready.
You are ready. Well, hello, Professor Travel, or as we like to call you, Scott.
Please do.
Or Professor Travel. Are you only Professor Travel to your? No. Are you only Scott to your friends?
No, I am Scott to everybody, including my students in the classroom. So
now you are a college professor, correct?
I am. I teach global business management and international business strategies.
So do you just go by Scott, or do you go by like?
No. I go by Scott. I don't like it when people talk to when they start to call me professor or something like that. I'm like, come on, please. I'm not that old. Stop.
Well, I always have the kids. I always introduce myself as Mr. Matt. So I kind of, that's where I find my middle ground. I don't call myself Mr. Allen because that's my dad, but I call myself Mr. Matt. And if it's older kids, I worked with a group of kind of upper middle school to high school today. And then I'll say, hey guys, my name is Matt. You can call me Matt or Mr. Matt, whichever you prefer. Cause I feel weird. Yeah, it's like
I had a situation where I started college, just really super fast segue here. When I started college, I had a professor, it was my second class, and she said, "Oh, please refer to me as Dr. Such and Such." I'm like, okay, well, that's highfalutin. And so the next instructor after that, she said, no, refer to me as Norma. I'm like, well, don't you want to be referred to as Doctor or something or other? And she's like, No, I'm good with myself. I don't need to worry about that. That's kind of how I feel. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I just chill.
Yeah. That's been my experience because we get to know people that have PhDs and stuff at the aquarium and in other parts of my life. And the ones who are usually like, don't call me doctor, are the ones who are probably, you should call doctor, but they're like, I'm good. Now there's anyway, I don't want to offend anybody. There might be somebody who's very proud of earning that doctorate and I don't want to offend them,
and they've earned it, good for them.
Absolutely.
Question. I see your shirt. Is that a Professor Travel shirt?
It is a Professor Travel
shirt. Is that merch that we can purchase?
Not quite yet, but I would like to bring some on the group cruise that we are going to be having, so that way I can give it away to people who might be interested.
That's cool.
So it might be something worth coming to if that's something that they might want to do.
I just want you to know, Scott, that I chose the purple background because I thought it really complemented the orange of your shirt.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You are a showstopper. You know it down to a science.
I mean, the teal would have been good too. I mean, I'm a fan of teal and orange, but the purple just, I think, really pops with the orange.
Yeah, we have the three colors. We have the teal, the purple, and the black. And I was switching through, and I was like, which one do you think is appropriate for tonight?
I mean, if it was Halloween, then black. But
well, that's true.
Otherwise, no. Purple or teal, either one is good. It's good to go. So we brought you on here tonight, of course, to talk about your recent cruise, which is special for so many reasons. One, it's your first cruise in the Caribbean, not your first cruise by any stretch of the imagination. You have cruised in a lot of places, but your first cruise in the Caribbean and out of Puerto Rico, which is really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the episode.
Thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate it.
Right. So there's so many things about your cruise that I'm very curious about. For a start, let's just start at the beginning. You flew into Puerto Rico you went California, Miami, Puerto Rico?
That is exactly correct. Yeah,
Okay.
and we got a chance to do business class from LAX to
Ooh.
Miami, which was really impressive. I enjoyed
Nice.
that a lot. And then we got into Puerto Rico, or I'm sorry, yeah, we got into Puerto Rico right out of the airport. It was beautiful weather. I enjoy it. It kind of reminds me of Hawaii, actually, in many
Oh,
ways.
okay.
And so we went to a nice little boutique hotel for the evening, and the next morning we were going to get up, go over to the the location, the facility where both a Norwegian cruise line as well as a Royal Caribbean was stationed at. We were actually heading out of the Royal Caribbean dock, and so we had to get our tests done beforehand. And we were like, okay, well, let's just go to the dock. We'll take the tests there for COVID, which they were able to facilitate. It wasn't that expensive, and then we were able to go on board the ship.
So, okay, so I didn't even think about that. That's a good sign that I'm not thinking about that anymore. But hopefully that'll keep being like that. But yeah. So you had to get tested once you got to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird scheduling issue that I had where it was like, I think it was with Royal Caribbean, they require that you have 72 like you have to be tested within like 48 hours or 72 hours or something like that. And we were flying at a way where my current health provider wasn't going to be able to guarantee that I was going to be able to get the results in a timely
Gotcha.
manner.
Okay.
So knowing that, I was like, okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm just going to go to the docks, get it done there, pay $100, whatever, and then just deal with it. And they were very accommodating.
So the port provided that service?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, pay the money and ease the nerves. Definitely. I could see that would be worth it for sure to do that. And obviously you passed with flying colors because you were able to go on your cruise. So you didn't spend a lot of time in Puerto Rico before your cruise though. You got here, you spent one evening and then you got up the next morning and you got tested and you got on the cruise ship.
Correct. And I want to preface this also in another aspect too, which was really kind of an interesting case study. My partner is vegan. And so the first night we were having a lot of problems finding vegan food where we were staying. And so they were getting cranky. And so I was like, okay, I really hope Royal Caribbean has something on their ship, which turns out they actually have a full vegan menu in their main dining hall. And so that's fantastic. And even if like you go to the what do you call it, the buffet area, they can go over to Johnny Rockets and they can get a veggie burger.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Puerto Rico was a little difficult to find vegan fare?
At least at the specific location that we were at. So when you leave the airport and you go up to the main highway area, you can either turn left in order to go into like the old San Juan area, which is where the docks are located at, or you can go right, which takes you into kind of this inlet area where there's a couple hotels, and that's where we ended up staying the first night. Is we ended up staying there, and then when we came back, we actually did stay in Old San Juan, and that was a lot better for us to be able to find some vegan opportunities.
Okay, I was going to say, because Old San Juan, I know there's a lot of restaurants, but I'm not super familiar with all the Puerto Rican cuisine to know like what kind of options they have and stuff. But I would think in Old San Juan there would hopefully be more options. It sounds like the hotel just didn't really accommodate that very well.
It was a challenge the first night.
It's good to know. That's good to know for people that are visiting that are vegan or even vegetarian. It might be challenging then to find, meals for you. But yeah, I knew that Royal Caribbean did that, and I think Carnival does the same thing. I would assume and hope that most of the cruise lines do. I know that's something that Virgin does well. You hear me ripping Virgin, but I will give them credit where credit is due. I am rooting for them. So yeah, that is awesome. And I'm not vegan, but I am a huge fan of Indian food, and that is typically vegan or at least vegetarian. And so I'm always excited to go on Royal Caribbean because they usually have a lot more Indian food than other cruise lines in my experience.
The cruise we went on in December, so prior to this cruise, we were on Norwegian, which we loved, by the way, and it was fantastic. But they had a little bit of a different situation there where you had to tell them in advance that you were vegan, and not even with the booking, but like every night beforehand. That way they could take a look at the menu, they can kind of tailor it to you and stuff like that, which is fine. But it's kind of a long day of excursions. Sit down in the main dining hall and look at a menu and say, hey, I can eat everything on here. So that worked really well for Kevin.
Right. Right. The best way to accommodate people is to not have it feel like an accommodation.
Exactly.
Right. So cater to people that have these different dietary preferences and stuff, and don't make them feel like have some kind of special need, but just give them options, which is great. That's cool. So
yeah. I'm gonna go get a refill.
Kimbra's excited because she found her St. Augustine wine at a local Total Wine store tonight. That sort of happened on a weird whim, but okay. So you're in Puerto Rico. You get the test. You get on the ship. Which ship is it? I know it's Royal Caribbean, but it's the
Explorer of the Seas.
Which, let me just say, I know our friend Tony Dials often consumes this podcast, and he is getting ready to go on that ship. We're actually going to do a tour of that ship with Tony in a few weeks because he's excited. He wanted us to do a ship tour, and we're like, not only we're going to do a ship tour, Tony, you're coming on the episode with us. So, and he kindly agreed to that. So tell us a little bit about embarkation and just about the ship.
So the embarkation process seemed a little bit long because at every stage during this process, they were checking your COVID information. They were making sure that you had everything before you got onto the ship. So I want to say there was 5 checkpoints as you were starting to go through this. So they had a checkpoint at the line, they had a checkpoint at customs, they had a checkpoint at before you got up on the escalator. So the embarkation process was a little bit longer than we like, but I'm happy that at least I felt safe on the ship, knowing that everybody had been tested and had to be like within a certain time frame. The things that really stood out to me right away, because I always do this little tour of the ship to find out and explore, see what's going on. The promenade, which is where all the shopping is on the ship, was really point and center, right in the center of the ship. It was really kind of cool. And then the atrium area was like one of those old timey, like really high level, like 9-story atriums. That was it was gorgeous. It was breathtaking.
That's the thing I miss about newer ships, is that they kind of some of them have gotten away from that. And I kind of begrudge them that a little bit. I enjoy that when you first walk on the ship and that huge, tall pillar, it just, takes me back to my first experience getting on a cruise ship and seeing that and being like, wow. And I want that on newer ships, even though it may not be practical in some of the new ones, but that's awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. As we were exploring throughout the place, we came upon an ice rink, which was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, this is something I didn't see on Norwegian. And so it turned out that night they were going to have an ice show. So we already made reservations to do that. We got into our room. We chose a balcony, which was really great. And we were able to do the, what do you call it? That thing that you have to do before you go out to sea, everybody on the
the muster drill.
The muster drill. We were able to do that all electronically very quickly. And so like basically we were able to do it while we were in line. When we got on board, we just had to see the person at the muster station, just show them, hey, I did the muster thing. And they were like, cool, you're good to go.
If so we have to find a positive in the COVID crap that we've gone through, that is one of the positives we can pull from that, is the muster drills have gotten so much better on cruise ships now.
For real. I will also say that while we were going through this process, we obviously started to have a few cocktails and things like that, just kind of getting ready for the cruise. And it came upon us really quickly that, you know what, we probably should buy the drink package ahead of time, because we already went through like 3 banana daiquiri type things right away. And I was like, okay, this is going to make much more sense if we do this. And of course, I really wasn't drinking so much as I went through the cruise and was like, did I make a right choice? I'm happy I did it. I am. So that was really cool.
We kind of had a similar experience when we were on, was it Freedom of the Seas?
Yeah, we
were like, we don't get the drink. We don't drink that much. And then like within like a few hours, we're like, we've just ran up a pretty big bill.
We had 1 drink each.
Right.
Yeah.
We were like doing the math. We're like, maybe we should try this drink package thing. And for us, it wouldn't always be worth it. But in that scenario for us, it was definitely worth it.
Well, that was a shorter cruise for us. That was a 3 night. Yeah. So it wasn't like we were spending like.
It just removes all the stress and the math that you have to do. And how much am I going to owe? Like, I've already paid it. I paid my money. We're done. So that's awesome.
I do want to bring up one other thing too, and it may not apply to any of your watchers, but it might also. My spouse is a smoker. Okay, so finding a comfortable smoking area on some ships is a little bit different because they don't always take into consideration, you know, this being a social type of situation where a person sits down, they smoke, they talk to other smokers and things like that. Um, and when we've been on Carnival and we've been on Celebrity and when we've been on now Royal Caribbean, it's kind of limited. It really is quite limited on our ability to socialize because they have such a small area for you to like maybe 4 seats that are grouped with each other. So the socialization is not really that dynamic as opposed to like when we went on Princess up in the Baltics. They had a beautiful like area where everybody could sit down in the back of the ship so you weren't disturbing anybody. They had its own private bar. They had like water and tea and coffee all pretty much ready. And then on this one that we went on in December on Norwegian, they had like 2 lines, like rows of seating where you could talk with people around you or across from you. They had a bartender that came from like right nearby who would come over, change out the smoker stuff. And, so I just wanted to bring that up because I know sometimes there are people who are really quite anxious to smoke, especially when they get onto a ship and they don't have a lot of outlets. So it just felt like a much more comfortable thing on some other ships I've been on. And I'm hoping that the feedback we provided to both Carnival and to Royal Caribbean and to Celebrity will help with that in the future.
I noticed when we were on the Holland America ship that they had a smoking section in an area where I felt like it was a good space for it because it was a kind of area where if we were with a smoker, we could have interacted with them in a comfortable space for us and for them. And it wasn't, they didn't feel like they were like shoved to the side and outcast, but at the same time, their smoke wasn't like interfering with other people that didn't want to smell it. So it was a good, I felt like it was a good compromise.
Yeah,
so,
it was a big open space in the back of the ship, and there was also like the pool and the bar. Like it was in that space, but it was like on one side of that.
Instead of just like being, just like part of the walkway on the outside or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is when your smoking section is like right near the pool, in some cases, it becomes an inconvenience for both parties. But it sounds like in a way that this one was very much similar to the setup for Princess. The Holland America one sounds like it was very much. By the way, shout out to Mary over in like if she's ever watching this, she's a big Princess fan, so I appreciate that.
I think she still listens from time to time. So.
Absolutely, yeah. So later on that night, we got a chance to see the ice show, which was amazing. It was based on the season, so it was about an hour long, 45 minutes to an hour maybe, and they had both Ukrainian and Russian ice dancers, which were they were spectacular, and they made the shows just really special. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a unique thing, I guess, with certain Royal Caribbean ships. But we went to the ice show on the Freedom, and it was, people know I'm not a big fan of the shows on a lot of the ships, but if they do it well and they do it right, I am a big fan, and I did enjoy the ice show quite a bit. So
absolutely
pretty cool.
So then, do you want me to go on to the itinerary of where we
were?
Well,
let me ask you this: the balcony cabin that you had, did it feel like it was similar size to other ships you've been on, a little bigger, a little smaller, or?
So it was not as big as the Norwegian ship one that we were on this last December, but it seems about comparable to some of the other ones that we've been on before. We used to do Ocean View, and we're like, nope, never again. From this point on, it's definitely either balcony or. In fact, I think I have a suite on the group cruise. So.
Oh, nice. Yes. So once you go balcony, it's hard to step away from that. That kind of it's definitely a different experience. But yeah, sometimes Royal Caribbean gets knocked a little bit for having smaller cabins. Usually, it's Royal Caribbean being compared to Carnival. It's dependent on the ship. I mean, for me, I may notice it when I first walk in, but then after I'm there, I don't notice it anymore. It's not that significant. It doesn't really change my cruising experience. It's still a balcony, and I don't really care after the first, like, oh, this is a little bit smaller, or this is a little bit bigger. And then after that, I'm like, it's a balcony. I don't care. But sometimes the balconies will be like, you can't stretch your legs out, or they have lots of leg room. There's differences like that probably would be a little bit more impactful on certain ships. The Holland America balcony we were on was huge.
Yeah, that was a really nice. I loved that
It was
ship.
exceptionally large, but
Loved that
I
ship.
think other people had balconies that were not as big. So
Yeah.
on the same ship. So
Yep.
I don't know. So yes, let's jump in because you did not have any sea days, right?
Not a single one. And just
no sea days.
Pro tip for your listeners. When you're booking excursions, you might want to consider what I'm going to say as I go through this, because overbooking can also be your enemy. And that's where we felt that we were at one point. So our first day, we decided this was the first time we decided to do separate excursions, because my partner is much more adventurous than I am. And I am much more of the museum and cultural and, tours around the city and that type of thing. Whereas they're much more of the, hey, let's like go doing scuba. Let's do zip lining. Let's do parachuting. I'm like, yeah, you enjoy your insurance is paid up, right? Okay. So we did that. They decided they wanted to try and do scuba for the first time. Unfortunately, they did not have a nose plug, and so that caused that experience to be a little bit of a problem for them. So, but at least it was their first time giving it a shot. During the other parts of the cruise, I'll talk to you about some of the snorkeling adventures and things that they did from there. For me, our first location was on Charlotte Amalie, which is on St. Thomas. And so once we docked, I was on a tour that was taking me up to the botanical gardens up in the hills.
Ooh,
and so that was really quite a lovely view from up there. I got to explore the botanical gardens. I don't necessarily recommend that for people who have mobility issues or who are wheelchair bound, because it's a lot of going through like places that are not exactly ADA compliant. But it's good for people who want to like go explore and look at different types of flowers and get an amazing view from the top of a hillside area. So that was really kind of cool too. And then from there, we went to the world famous Banana Daiquiri location that's located up in the hills area there, where I purchased a number of Tortuga rum cakes while I was up there as well.
Oh, yummy.
Yes, it was amazing. I indulged. I got a chocolate one, I got a key lime one, and I got a golden rum one, which has like walnuts sprinkled on top of it. It was amazing.
Oh yeah. One time I went on a cruise and I bought a bunch of rum cakes for my coworkers as like gifts to bring back. And they were all like, they looked at me like I got them like fruitcake, like that kind of like, oh, rum cake. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Like rum cake is amazing.
I didn't get one of those.
I don't think you were even working at the aquarium yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy you a rum cake.
Will you?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Matt, I hear they ship. I'm just saying.
Right. Yes. We can get them locally. It's pretty easy to find a rum cake in Florida. But we have gotten rum cakes in Grand Cayman and Mexico.
Yep.
So big fan of the rum cake.
Absolutely. And so from there, I was on a souvenir tour at that point, at the very end, looking for baby spoons, magnets, shot glasses, and postcards. So that was my long to do thing. And when I'm going out on these trips, I look for both souvenirs for people I care for, as well as what I call artifacts, like the things you see behind me here. Like at the top there, that's a mask from Venice, along with two
cool
glass figurines from the Murano glass factory. Below that, I have some stuff from Barcelona, and then below that, I have a couple of things from both Stockholm and from Oslo as well. And then at the very bottom, I have something from Bangkok, Thailand. So that's what I consider as far as artifacts. Every trip we go on, we try to look for one, and I'll talk to you about what we did at the very end in Puerto Rico in order to get a couple of artifacts to take home with us.
Cool.
So that was St. Thomas for us. That was my first time.
Yes,
first time in St. Thomas. Yep.
Beautiful island.
And then that evening, we went to the main dining hall, where my partner had the opportunity to try out this vegan menu, and it was a 3-course vegan menu, really filling and specifically prepared for them. And so our waiter and the assistant waiter were aware of our drink preferences, as well as everything moving forward. It was just chef's kiss, quite literally. It was amazing. And that was pretty much it for St. Thomas.
The St. Thomas.
Yep.
So this, I've never seen a cruise that I've never actively seen a cruise that didn't have any sea days. So that when we were looking at your cruise today, I was looking on Shipmate and like looking at that cruise and stuff. And I'm like, wow, no sea days. When you booked that cruise, were you like, oh, there's no sea days? Is that something that you thought about? Or
So I actually did not book this cruise originally. The
this
cruise
is like a makeup cruise for
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally, when I booked a cruise, this was from March of 2020. We were supposed to go to the ABC Islands from Puerto Rico. And so it was going to be like Puerto Rico, then I think a day at sea, then hit ABC Islands, and then another day at sea, and then back over to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
This one was like, hey, we got you covered. We're gonna keep you busy for an entire week. And you know what? They did. And so it was insanity as we continue to go on, but I'll explain why in just a second. So as we go through this every single day, I'm waking up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And I'm like, you know what? I'm on vacation. This is getting tiring. I'm an old man. I got my Geritol to take. I got stuff I gotta do. And so I just wanted to make it a comfortable thing. So as we start to get into like day 4 and day 5 of this, we're like, okay, you know what? We're not gonna go out. Like we'll go and hit the shopping like at the local pier or something like that. But we're not really going to invest a lot of time or effort in order to be going for a half day of excursions. So
Sure. So what was your next port stop?
Next port stop was a combo island. It was St. Kitts and Nevis. So St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts is where you dock into, and Nevis is the sister island where you could take a ferry there if you want to. It's a lot more jungly and stuff like that. But St. Kitts is the one that everybody goes to because it's got a few things there. One, it's of course very, very beautiful. Number 2, they have a UNESCO heritage site there, which is called the Brimstone Fort, which is located up in the hillside area where the British colonization used to happen. And they also have a really lovely former plantation there called the Romney House. And so we got an opportunity to go to all these things through, well, I did on my excursion. And so I got a lot of panoramic views. I am going to be posting that onto the YouTube channel soon. I already sent that out through my Facebook, the Professor Travel Facebook site. So it's like a 3-minute long video. It's actually really digestible. So that's totally fine. And then my partner at the same time decided that they wanted to go swim with dolphins. And so that was something they had an opportunity to do there. Really enjoyed that. They got a lot of pictures. They got to hug a dolphin, and this was like an open water area, so it's not like, so they don't like keep them in pens or anything like that. It was like they just come for the food and stay for the people. So
do you know, were they Atlantic bottlenose dolphins or were they a different species?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But the one thing I did see on this excursion, and we'll probably talk about this when we get to the cruise creature, are a very specific kind of bird called egrets. And there was just, when I say there were hundreds of egrets, there were hundreds of these things look like fruit on a tree. It was just amazing. So those were really fun and quite beautiful to see. But as I said, the highlight of this island is if you're into that, is to go to see that UNESCO heritage site up in the hillside. Really great, really beautiful. There was a guy with a monkey that was nearby there. The monkey in a diaper. I don't know what that was about. You pay him $1 and you get to have the monkey on you or something like that. So I was like, okay, well, that's not for me, but thanks anyways. But my partner got like accosted by a monkey and got to have the picture, of course. Then they had to pay for it. So it's like, all right, well,
right.
I hope it was worth it for you. That's great. But like you, I'm not a big show person. When I go into the ships, I don't like book for shows and stuff like that. If there's something that's really like interesting, like on the Norwegian ship that we were on, with the smoking section that we had, we got to know the onboard comedian because she would come there and she would smoke and stuff like that. So that was an interesting social thing. So of course we're going to be wanting to support her. So we got tickets to her show, and that was adult and very cool. And she recommended another show on the Norwegian one. And so again, we'll talk about that at a different time. But for this one, we pretty much stuck with it. Although I think you guys would have really enjoyed the fact that they had both a Game of Thrones trivia as well as a Harry Potter trivia on board, which is, of course, I know Kimbra sails on that one.
Yes.
No, I can't stand Harry Potter.
Actually,
I'm wearing a Harry Potter shirt tonight. Just
because we're going to go see the new Harry Potter movie tomorrow.
Fantastic Beasts.
Yes.
Secrets of Dumbledore.
Yes. So
I don't know what secrets he hasn't already divulged in throughout the movies, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
So the next day after that, we hit again another combo island. This one is the island of Antigua and its sister island of Barbuda. And Barbuda, so it's really, so this island has a very interesting history about colonization. And the thing that I think was fascinating is, as I was going through the tour and they were talking to me about this, this was like the hub for a lot of the British ships that would come into the Caribbean. They would come into here because this is where the slave hub was, and then they would go to the other islands if they were dropping off things. This was a huge sugarcane manufacturing location, but there have been people living here since the Stone Ages that came over from South America. And so they came to Antigua, rested there, and that was that. When colonization started, so did slavery, and the slaves that were there to harvest the sugarcane were primarily right in Antigua itself. But for those slaves that were deemed more advanced or more skilled, they would go to the island of Barbuda, where they would be able to hone their skills, whether it was sewing or cooking, gem crafting in some cases. I mean, there were like a lot of different things that would be done over there, but it was really much more for skilled labor. The museum that we went to, or that I went to there, was actually the former like slave auction house. And so it was an interesting display into the history of it all, told from the perspective of someone who is Afro-Caribbean. And so I was very happy that our tour guide was able to tell us a little bit more about that. And she was very knowledgeable, really just a wonderful person, and had like a lot of things to say about the whole process. So very good. Reno has come for a visit.
Yes, Reno's come in. Let me ask you this, Scott, and I don't know if you'll know the answer to this or not, but you've just piqued my curiosity because you mentioned that there were indigenous people. What we'll call them indigenous because they came over from South America. When the Europeans got there, did they just enslave those people? Did they drive them out? Like, what happened to that culture of people?
No, they enslaved them. There were some struggles between the French occupying the area, the Spanish occupying some of the area, but the British were the ones who ultimately held the area for the longest period of time. And so, but here's the thing: once the sugarcane started to go out of fashion, or once it became cheaper to produce it in other locations, the island pretty much, changed crops all of a sudden. And, that was something that just really wasn't seen as even fashionable anymore. I mean, the slavery ended like in the late 1800s over there, but they still gave the people who were part of the community the opportunity to work in sugarcane if that's what they wanted to do. But even around the 1950s, everything started to change up. So now the biggest things that are over in Antigua are the tourism industry. That's a huge thing there. So obviously with the pandemic, that was a really hard hit.
Oh yeah.
Fishing is really, really big in that industry. By the way, this was something that was really interesting. It is the hottest island in the Caribbean. Like physically, it is the hottest and most humid island in the Caribbean. It gets the least amount of rainfall as well, which is interesting.
I would have guessed the ABCs would have been in that category.
I would have thought so too. Yeah.
I feel like they're further south. I know they're very arid environments. I wonder if the ecosystem there is more of a desert type ecosystem then.
Possibly,
if it's dry, if it's not getting a lot of rainfall, it would almost to be, but
they had a lot of fruit, and they still had sugarcane. They had like breadfruit that was growing on the trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of what do you call it? Oranges, limes, lemons, things like that. So
like
maybe
citrus.
It was like citrus. Yeah. And I know citrus does tend to grow well in a desert climate in some cases. So I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, this is the information I got from the tour guide. I didn't do my research on it, so I want to just preface that ahead of time.
No, I think it's interesting, and it's something that I want to learn more about. I've touched upon some of the history in different Caribbean islands and stuff, but I feel like there's besides pirates, I feel like there's a lot more interesting history that's happened in the Caribbean that I personally am not really aware of, and I need to. educate myself on that. So that's fascinating to me.
I wish I would have taken a tour that would have given me more information about pirates. I think that would have been something I would have looked forward to. But I was really surprised that each of the islands really had its own unusual dynamic. Everybody was different. The cultures were dramatically different. The prices were extraordinarily different in some cases. Like for example, in St. Kitts, when we were there, we asked about the price of gasoline, and they're like, "Yeah, it's about $16 a gallon." I'm like,
Ooh.
"A gallon of gasoline?"
Whoa.
And they're like, "Yeah." And so then we go over to Antigua, and Antigua is like maybe like $7 a gallon or something like that. But I was like, we complain about gas prices here in the United States, and they're like,
Get the bicycle
it's not
out.
like that. Yeah, exactly. So that was our day. On that specific day, my spouse went to go swimming with stingrays.
Yeah.
And so that was something that was interesting on that day. And I asked them how the experience was. He was like, it was a little bit weird because I didn't want to step on any, and they were always swimming around your legs and stuff like that. It felt like I was being accosted by portobello mushrooms. And that
Yes.
was kind of like, I was like, okay, that's a way to look at it. So yeah,
that's a great way to describe them.
It really is.
Giant portobello mushrooms is a very accurate way to describe them.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, have you ever been attacked by portobello mushrooms? Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, totally.
So that was that day. And then the next day, my partner tapped out. They were like, I can't do any more touring this early. I'm on vacation. I just don't need this. So I'm just going to chill in the casino for the rest of the day. And I'm like, okay, you do that. I have a tour plan. So the next day I went to the island of St. Lucia. And St. Lucia was really quite lovely. The location there is called Castries, I think. It's a pretty crowded community, and they're really quite lovely. They actually have 2 Nobel laureates who were buried up the hillside that came from the island of St. Lucia, and we ended up going into the hillside area. That's where it was rainy. It got a little bit rainy, but when I got into the hillside, I should say, I had a very specific tour. This was the one tour I did not want to skip out on, no matter what. I got to make chocolate from scratch.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
The cacao and all the
exactly. So I go to this place. It's high in the hillsides. It's all covered. So I didn't have to worry about all of the rain, but it's a beautiful view from on top of the hill. I'm going to post that video next, so everybody will have access to that. But yeah, when you go into this area there, it's like a classroom. You have the instructors there. You have these 3 ingredients in front of you, and that's pretty much it. You have this pretty much like almost like coffee grounds, and that's the cacao beans that have basically been broken up. That's it. So it's not really finely broken, but it's a little bit broken up. Then you have cocoa butter, and then for the purposes of this, they actually got granulated sugar, whereas normally it would be like sugar cane that you would put in this.
Okay.
And then they brought and this was us doing this from scratch. So I mean, literally, we had a pestle, and they brought us a hot mortar, and they put it in front of us, and they're like, okay, don't touch the mortar because you're going to get burnt. But they gave us aprons and all kinds of stuff. So we put the 3 ingredients in, and we just start cranking it out. And let me tell you, this was really good. So I got my workout for the day, just mixing up chocolate. And so nowadays they obviously have machinery to do that, but they wanted us to have the real experience. So I'm like, okay, great. And we got to try a couple
all the calories, and then you can enjoy the chocolate guilt free.
Exactly. I thought of it. That's genius, actually. And so, but before we got started, they cracked open the cacao pod, and they said, you can actually suck on the cacao beans themselves, and they kind of taste like citrusy and stuff like that. It was actually really an interesting experience. Have you guys done that before? Or?
A little bit.
When we went to the DR, we did the monkey thing, and on our way back, we stopped at what they call it, Flavors of Dominican or something like that. And it was like a little plantation thing where they showed us how they make the coffee and stuff, and they passed around.
But it wasn't as hands-on. Like,
no,
we didn't get to crush it.
We didn't
get to do the process.
But they showed us the different steps, and they passed around like the different pieces so you could try all of them.
Yeah. I think it was really great. They actually end up like, I'm mystified, but I'm turning this powdery substance into like liquid all of a sudden. And it's like, it's the miracle of chemistry. And I'm just like so proud of myself. So then I got to pour it into a mold. I filmed that, so that'll go up on YouTube soon. And so then we just wait about 20 minutes for the mold to harden, and then we wrap it ourselves. We put it in our own packaging, and then we have our own customized candy bar. They gave us the opportunity to add some stuff at the end, so you could add cinnamon if you like that. I added sea salt to mine, so that was kind of a sea salt and chocolate, dark chocolate. It was really kind of cool. It was amazing. I picked up I supported the local economy by picking up a lot of chocolate while I was there. So
well done,
Thank
sir.
you. I feel it's my duty as a person that's traveling.
Absolutely, it is. Yes,
that sounds like a fun excursion.
That sounds amazing. That
sounds so fun.
I want to do that.
Yeah, right. That sounds
highly recommend that.
And definitely. I think Todd was saying that they make the tea out of the shells, which we bought some of that,
and we never made it.
We still have it though.
Yeah,
it's sealed.
We should do that.
I forgot that until Todd said
I know.
That.
Me too.
Yes.
I think I know what we're doing tomorrow morning. Cereal and shell tea.
Shelty's a dog, actually.
Yeah, dang it. Is it really?
Before we get to the next place, I'm curious about one thing, and this is kind of about all your stops, really. But the only island I've been to that you visited, other than, like I said, Puerto Rico, is St. Thomas. And one of the things that strikes me that's interesting about St. Thomas is that it's got a lot of elevation. There's a lot of like small mountain type elevation there. Are all these islands, do they all have that sort of elevation, or some of them more flat?
Let me think about that for a second, because St. Thomas definitely was. St. Kitts definitely had elevation to it because we went like super, super high on that one. Antigua, at least where we were at in Antigua, it was relatively flat.
Mm-hmm.
But that just may have been where I was at.
Okay.
I know St. Lucia, we were definitely in the hills, or I keep saying I was definitely in the hills. I gotta remember, I'm separating myself from my partner at this point because they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. The next three islands, or I should say the next two islands, Barbados and St. Martin, I didn't have a lot of experience in because, again, we just went locally to the shops, and that was pretty much it for those ones. But I mean, that was pretty much it. And then we went back to Puerto Rico after that and stayed in like Old San Juan, which was amazing. And I have a couple artifacts to share with that as far as
Old San Juan. I have to say too about the rain. The first time I went to Puerto Rico, we went to the El Yunque rainforest. And when we got back, we were talking to people on the ship that stayed in Old San Juan, and they were like, it rained the whole time. And the irony was we went to the rainforest and it didn't rain. They stayed out of the rainforest and they got soaked.
Wait, what? Okay. Was it the time of year that you went? I mean, like, I don't know.
No, I mean, the rainforest is kind of a cloud forest. So it was like wet, but it just wasn't, it's so high up. It just didn't get the storms. They got the storms. We had a typical day in the rainforest. They had a rainy day. So it was just kind of fun in an ironic way, but
so yeah, I guess my pro tip on an excursion or on a cruise like this, where you have absolutely packed 100%, no at sea days, just be mindful of those things. Maybe it's wise not to pre-book all your excursions, because you can't really get refunds in a lot of cases if you're too close to those dates, and then it just becomes a whole nightmare if that's the case. So like for the last two islands, for Barbados and St. Martin, it's like we got off the ship, so at least we could say we put our feet down, got some souvenirs, went right back. Enjoyed the casino. It was fantastic. Like, I mean, we had fun in the casino. We got ranked, which is important for us because we're gamblers. And then the last day we get off early in Puerto Rico. We get driven up to our location, which is an old convent that's been turned into a hotel. And it's right next to a Catholic church. And it was stunning. Like the rooms were like, I can't even describe it. Okay. It is I've been to over 30 countries. I've stayed at many, many, many different hotels before. This is by far the one with the tallest ceilings I have ever seen. So the room was probably about, I don't know, maybe a good, like on the ground level was probably like, I don't know, maybe 250 square feet. It was really nice, comfortable. But then looking up, the ceilings are 20 feet high.
Wow.
I was like, Are you kidding me? I'm like, how do you even clean that? That's crazy. But we also, so I decided that I wanted to explore a little bit from there. Where we were located at was right next to the San Juan Fort. So I could go, like, walked about 500 feet down to the actual fort, like, door, went out, and I was able to, like, walk all the way around the fort side. It was just
Is that the fort we went to?
Well, there's like, I think 3 forts, at least 2 or 3 forts in Puerto Rico. I think the one he was at is a different one than the one we went to.
Okay.
According to the sign that I read there, the San Juan Gate, which is the one that I was located at, this is where dignitaries would come over in this, like, the 1600s and 1700s, and they would enter through the dock here and go to, like, the local churches and things like that, and like a governor's mansion, which is, like, located right up the area there. So it was kind of really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we weren't that far away from, I guess you would call it Umbrella Street, which is where the umbrellas, but they had the whole thing decked out in, like, these pink flamingo type things that were hanging from there. So it wasn't the umbrellas that were hanging, but it was something similar.
It sounds better than the flags that we saw.
Yeah, we saw, like, the Olympic setup.
I was so disappointed. I was so looking forward to the Umbrella Street.
Yeah, I know.
And it just wasn't.
It was a little disappointing, but
there were definitely some vegan options there for my spouse, which was great. And we found an art shop where I wanted to I want to share. This is show and tell now. I want to share a couple of my artifacts I picked up. This was done by a local artisan.
that's
you can see it.
That's cool.
It's like a really quite lovely vase done in Puerto Rico. And then also got this as well. I'm not sure if you can see this.
Oh, nice.
I like it. I like it. I can't tell what's on the side though. It looks like it's the rainbow Puerto Rico, like rainbow flag.
Yeah, it's like the rainbow flag that was done up for, like, a door, and then on the sides these are, like, just exposed, like, brick.
Like brick. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yep. I see it now.
That's really cool.
That's beautiful.
So I just, like, it's the second myself and my partner saw that, we're like, that's ours. We're getting
perfect.
it.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
So we got our fix. We were good. We had a great time. L'chaim. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, I love like I said, the first time I went to Puerto Rico, I went to El Yunque, the rainforest. It was cool. It was beautiful. But the other 2 times I've been to Puerto Rico, just walked around Old San Juan, and wow, what a magical place that is, and just a beautiful city. And we went into like different art galleries there. I love it when you can go. I hate going to a port and you see the same crap that I see in, like, John's Pass and Madeira Beach here by me, with just the name San Juan, Puerto Rico printed on it. Like, I want to see local artisan stuff that people in Puerto Rico, like, I want what they do, like that pottery you've got, and so, like, that to me is what I'm looking for when I go.
Coconut we got.
Yeah, like the coconut we got. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I feel like you can. That San Juan is a place where you can really get that authentic cultural experience, which is really cool.
I was very impressed. I would definitely go back in a heartbeat. It was just so fun.
It's been a week in Puerto Rico easily.
Yeah, absolutely I could. And so, like, but I mean, we got so many other trips planned. Our next one coming up, we're flying into Athens, Greece, and we're going to be doing a Greek cruise on the Norwegian Jade. That's going to be coming up in August, and then we're just going to touch base. We're just going to touch down in Turkey. Fun fact about that. It was originally booked for a 7-day cruise, and then we got a response back from Norwegian saying, "I'm sorry, we've had to modify your cruise. It's now a 9-day cruise, and your 2 additional days are like free of charge." I'm like, done.
How
and done.
Unfortunate.
Right?
I know the drama of it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only drama I had to call up to, like, the airlines and rebook my stuff, but that was pretty much it. So
that's awesome. So let me just, because that puts me in a whole other rabbit hole there, because, like, it just brings me back to, like, my art history classes and stuff. But let me ask you this, because you live in California, so this was your first Caribbean cruise. How did the Caribbean stack up for you compared to Europe, compared to California, and all the places that you have cruised?
I will say this.
Question.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I literally wrote that question.
Did you? I'm sorry.
Well, Kimbra, I would say Thank you for asking, Kimbra.
Yeah, anytime.
It's a great Matt impression. It's uncanny.
So my preference is for cities and the culture involved in a lot of cities. So for me, Europe does definitely tend to draw my attention more. I mean, like my favorite places in the world are like Barcelona and Paris and Venice and London, but and St. Petersburg, Russia, which I guess you can't go to right now. I mean, again, just amazing cities. But that being said, I will say that I think I had a better time in the Caribbean over the last month than I did when I was in Hawaii in August.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
So-
That's high. That's high marks there.
So you're excited to go back to the Caribbean next March?
I am ecstatic. I wish there was something that everybody could do. How would they do that? I wish they knew someone who could like book travel for them.
Hmm.
Huh. Yeah, that'd be cool. Here, let me throw up this banner.
What about your partner though? Because he's more into doing the stuff that like Kimbra and I do.
Yep.
It sounds like what were his impressions of the Caribbean?
They were just blown away. They were like, I could totally do. In fact, I will quote them as saying they said they would totally do the island life. They could see themselves just retiring on the beach, and that would be exactly what they'd want to do. So I'm like, well, we have to rearrange our portfolio, but yes, we could probably do that if we wanted to. So
See,
yeah,
you're gonna love the group cruise. He's gonna love the group cruise.
I was gonna say he's not scuba certified, right?
he is not. No, but I
It's not-
suppose we can look to do that because I'm right off Long Beach, California here, and so there's an island that's right off the coast here called Catalina Island, and Catalina has something called CIMI, which is the Catalina Island Marine Institute, and they do different types of like things over there. I mean, you can do all kinds of scuba certifications, like from Newport Beach and Long Beach and Huntington Beach and Laguna Beach, all of them up and down the coast here. But it's only out in the Catalina area where you kind of get that real experience. I remember doing that in the 8th grade. And that was when I first started snorkeling, and I had the opportunity to see the wildlife, and I could see billions of plankton around me, and I got to see my first whale, and that was like we got humpbacks over here, so
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I can tell you that they are definitely, and in fact, they will probably want to reach out to you more about how to figure out how to purchase the appropriate scuba equipment. In fact, I think you guys had a podcast on that not that long ago.
We did snorkel stuff. Yeah. So I was gonna say if Kevin's interested in getting certified, I'm pretty sure that at least in Grand Cayman we're probably going to do a dive, and I think that would be a dive that he would really enjoy.
Because it's like if you get certified in California, diving the Caribbean is like super easy because you don't have to wear a wetsuit and it's a lot shallower. Well, I don't know about the depth in California, but it's shallow diving in Grand Cayman. But
that was my first wild dive, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
Do you have to
But even
suit,
just snorkeling and stuff too, like we're gonna try and mix it up on our group cruise, but we're gonna definitely do some snorkeling and stuff. So yes, he'll have a blast.
Yeah.
But if he has questions, we love to talk about that stuff. So and that goes for anybody else. If you have questions about snorkeling gear, scuba diving gear, or just the experiences, we are planning on someday getting around to doing a new updated Fintastic guide to snorkeling. But if you have questions about that stuff, please reach out. Either go to the Fintastic Cruising community on Facebook. Just shoot us an email, fintasticcruising@gmail.com. We love talking about that stuff. So you are not bothering us. You are just making our day. So please talk to us about that. We enjoy it. Yeah.
So before we get into the cruise creature, I just want to mention that all week Matt has been saying we need to write down questions for Scott. We need to write down questions, and I kept saying, why? He's gonna do just fine.
Well, I know, but I needed that sort of structure to exist.
So
I knew I wouldn't reference it, but I needed it to exist.
So my questions consisted of what cruise did you go on? And what was your itinerary? And how did it compare?
Just talk.
And I'm like, that was enough. Like, all we have to say is, what'd you do? go.
That is the pleasure of having a guest like you on the podcast, because you do your own podcast, which we should also definitely promote that. Go and check out the Professor Travel. You have a YouTube channel, you have a Facebook group or page, right? You have TikTok, all the things and stuff, which we need to make sure that I don't know if we have that link in.
I don't. I started to do it, but I didn't want to search for it. That was me being lazy.
You know what? If they go to the YouTube page, that has all the links on it.
Yes.
There you go. Go to his YouTube.
So look for the Professor Travel and check out all this stuff. He's interviewed us a couple times, and but also it's not just cruising. He does all sorts of travel, all sorts of places, even states in the United States.
I've been on there all by myself once.
I appreciate it. And in fact, I would like to call out, to Mallory, to Tony, Traveling Gilberts. They've all been great about highlighting the different states that they've been in, as well as you guys both. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
So yes, so go check it out, because yes, so many great guests, so many great things you can learn about. It's just a great experience all around. So definitely want to highlight that. And you want to do the cruise creature?
I do.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's hit it. Oh, okay. We'll do that.
All right. It's time. And the cruise creature is the snowy egret. So Matt always asks, but Matt specifically this time, asks our guests if they have a cruise creature in mind. And Scott sent over a picture that Matt is working on. No, more.
Well, that did it. Did
that do it? Okay.
I got it.
We got it. Sent a picture. And so first thing, Scott, did you know that this is a snowy egret, or did you just know that it was an egret?
I believe they did say it was a snowy egret.
Okay. Because I'm curious, did you know on your own, or they told you that's what it was?
Are we sure it's a snowy egret?
I'm pretty sure it's.
You're pretty sure? Egret. I mean, it looks like it from this.
Based
picture,
on the picture that I saw.
Currently uploading into the gallery, and I will put it
there.
Right
you go.
in.
Look at that tree. That's a very healthy tree.
That is a healthy tree.
That is a healthy tree with a lot of birds in it.
Yes. That is not a partridge in a pear tree. That is a flock of not seagulls, but of which doesn't actually exist, but of snowy egrets in a tree.
Well, even if they're not snowies, we decided that they are.
They look like snowies.
So that's our cruise creature, because we haven't done it yet, and that's what I slightly researched.
I would say that is probably my favorite egret too.
I would also say that that's probably my favorite.
Really like I like all the egrets, but the snowies are really just just something about
what I like about the snowies is they have it is a white bird. So herons and egrets look very similar, but the egrets are white, unless it's a white great blue heron, and then it's white. But that doesn't count. So the egrets. So there's like the snowy egret, the great egret, and the cattle egret. I'm sure there's other egrets, but those are the ones that I know.
Those are the ones in Florida.
Yeah. So those are the ones that matter in this podcast. But the snowy egret is smaller than the great egret, and it's got yellow legs and feet. So that's how you can tell it apart from the other egrets, unless it's a juvenile.
Well, as adults, they don't have yellow legs.
They just have yellow feet. That's right.
Yes.
Black legs, yellow feet.
Like they've been walking in this yellow snow.
Yes. Unless they're juveniles, and then they are a little more grayish because they haven't turned yellow yet.
Yes.
But to me, they're a little more floofy.
Okay.
Because they have they look a little more floofy. Like the others are very sleek and whatever, and the snowies just look a little more floofy. That's the best way I can describe it. Floofy.
They're plumaged out.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Yes.
So they actually, when was it that they were actually
late 1800s, like and into the early 20th century, so like up to about 1910.
Yeah, they used to be captured and I guess killed. Were they killed?
Oh yeah, they were killed.
Yeah.
They weren't caught. They were murdered.
They were murdered. Okay. For their breeding plumage, for ladies' hats, because they were that floofy.
Well, and during mating season, they get they get these extra floofy feathers.
Yes.
And so those were the ones that they were really going after. And it became very stylish, especially in Europe, to get these feathers. So there was some outrage, even, believe it or not, even in the late 1800s, early 1900s, about them being their populations being decimated. So it became illegal to kill them, but there was still a demand for it in Europe, and it was kind of hard to police. So they were still hunted illegally for a while beyond that. And then eventually they got the protection that they deserved. So
yeah, they're doing just
populations-
fine now.
Well, they didn't at first. Their populations were coming back, and then they had issues with like wetlands habitat loss. But now
I say right now they're doing fine.
They're doing pretty good now.
Yeah.
So there's I have to teach about conservation all the time, which I have mixed feelings about, because I think conservation is super important, but I also don't want to just spend my life depressing people. So I love conservation success stories, because it gives people hope and makes people go, oh, maybe we can change these other things. And this is a conservation success story. So the snowy egret. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, they're found like all throughout Florida and the Caribbean and some of Texas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico area. I looked at a map earlier.
Huge range.
Yes, they're all over the place. Kind of year round. There are a couple areas that they're only there at certain times a year, but for the most part, they're in most of those areas all year round.
We see them in Florida year round.
They're Florida year round. Yeah. They eat like little fish, little crabs.
Fish, crabs. They'll go after lizards, insects, anything small that's meat.
Yeah.
So any living thing that's small, they will go after. Yeah.
What did I read earlier? They have found fossils like dating back to the Ice Age.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So the tree that you saw makes me think that they were starting probably like a mating or a nesting season. So down there, it's probably a little earlier. In Florida, we're kind of coming into that time right about now, actually. And then over the next month or so into May is where you'll see a lot of our native birds in Florida that are nesting, and they will flock together, different species and everything in these areas, and they will congregate, and just hundreds of birds like you're describing will stick together. And there's reasons that they do this, and it's a lot of it has to do with just they want to ensure the best odds for their hatchlings, their baby birds, to survive, because the more you have together, the less you have to worry about predators like raccoons and things that can climb into the trees. They also love nesting above alligators, not where you saw them, of course, because there are no alligators there. Maybe
no, but they were mongooses there, though.
So those were introduced, though. Yeah, so those, I don't know how mongooses probably can't climb. I don't know if they can climb trees, actually, but
I don't think they can, because they were saying that was one of the reasons that, and I'm just now remembering it from the tour, and they're saying, yeah, they actually had the mongoose problem, and that's why a lot of the egrets have gone up in the trees.
Yeah. So they can get away from those predators. With the alligators, it's great because the alligators are down at the bottom, and raccoons are not like real anxious to climb across alligators to get to a bird. So it gives them an extra sense of protection. If a bird falls out of the nest, then the alligator gets paid. And alligators are even known to put sticks on their rostrums, on their snouts, intentionally to lure birds who are very, very willing to take risks to get sticks. Sticks are at a premium to build during nesting season, and they will come down to get those sticks, and then the alligator gets a little snack. But
so speaking of those sticks,
yes,
the males actually start building the nest,
oh,
and then the females kind of hang out there while the males go and get all the sticks, give them to the females to continue making the nest.
I did not know that.
Yes,
that's cool. Very nice. Good teamwork there, right?
I did my research on our way to Total Wine to get my wine.
But that's a cool cruise creature, and one that you can see again in Florida and other places, but definitely one to look for in the Caribbean.
Yep.
Very nice.
How'd I do?
You did great.
Thank you.
You did great. Bravo.
Thank you.
You know, it's what I love about Kimbra, and there's so much I love about Kimbra, but one of the things I love about Kimbra is like when we first started dating, like she was kind of like, birds, whatever. I don't really know if I like them that much, but she has since gotten a passion for birds to the point where her bird identification skills have surpassed my bird identification skills within just a couple of years. And now when we go out hiking to take pictures or whatever, or even just walking like in the parking lot to get to work, she's IDing birds that I don't even know what they are. And she's just like, that's a blah, 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 and that's a blah, blah, blah. So that's, I think, really, really cool.
Now, if only we can get her to love like crows and ravens, I think we'd make a really major step there.
Right?
Right?
And they're so smart.
You know what? I'm okay with grackles.
Okay-ish.
It's a baby step. Crows are like one of the coolest birds out there. I mean, and yeah, they're like so smart. They're so freaking smart.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my one particular bird book because I'm hoping that there's a fun fact that we didn't talk about. So I'm gonna let you talk while I read this.
All right. Well, while she's doing that, Scott, any final thoughts about this cruise?
I just think it was so much fun. This was a great opportunity to really experience it. Again, the couple of things I would say, number one, if you're vegan, please make sure to look into that before you go on the cruise. Number two, if you're a smoker, make sure that the locations are to your liking on a cruise. And if you do decide to go with a cruise with no sea days, be prepared. Be prepared to wake up early, just like work every single day. And it can be very rewarding. It is an opportunity of a lifetime. But then when you get back to work the next week, you might be a little exhausted. That's the only thing to consider.
You need like a vacation from your vacation.
From your vacation, exactly.
Yes. And I am the type of person that I would have been like, let's go every day. And that would have been bad. Although it would have been good, but it would have been bad because I would not have been able to control myself. I would have gone and done this stuff every day, and then I would have been exhausted. That's one of the things I love about cruising is it forces me to relax, and I wouldn't do that if I had a port day every day. But that is awesome because you got to go to so many cool islands, and that's one of the advantages about sailing out of Puerto Rico is that you're already in that Southern Caribbean area. Like if you sail out of Florida, you've got to usually go on a fairly long cruise to get to those islands, and you're not going to get to go to that many of them. That's a really good reason to go to Puerto Rico.
I found my exciting fact that's different in this book than what I've read anywhere else.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so they do something called canopy feed. So they open their wings above the water so that it's like shaded, and when the fish come over to the shade, they get them.
So they're a little shady.
I mean, they cause a little shade.
Have you seen them do that?
I feel like we see them a lot doing like like they put their nose, it's not what it's called, beak in the water, and they like kind of shift it around, or they use their feet and kind of like
they'll stir up
and make things like come up out of them. I don't know if we've seen the shade thing or not.
I've seen tricolors and little blues do that.
Yes, I've definitely seen that.
They will do that as well, and they'll make a shady spot, and the fish go, "Oh, a shady spot," and then they get eaten. It is a little shady.
It is.
Really.
I'm not going to find a fact out of each book, but that is a fact out of one of them.
Great job. That was a good job.
Yeah.
That was great. Okay, cool. Well, listen, Scott, thank you so much for coming on the podcast tonight. Always a lot of fun to talk to you, and really looking forward to cruising with you guys next year. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic, as they say.
Fantastic.
And thank you both for setting that up. It's really appreciated.
Absolutely. All right, should we take us out?
Sure. On that note, it's time to head for the horizon. And until next time, seize the day.
Have a fantastic week, everybody. All right, and we're back in the room for the after the credits portion of the podcast. And let me just say, for those of you that don't know Scott is not just he's our people in so many ways. And one of those ways is that he is a big geek like we are. He's a D&D guy.
He is a D&D guy.
I think that's cool. I think that's awesome. There's even talk we may play a little Dungeons and Dragons with Scott. For those of you out there that don't know what D&D is, I feel like if you listen to this podcast, even if you don't know what D&D is, you probably know it at this point. At least what the D and the D stands for. But
dog and
dragons. Dogs and dragons? No.
Dogs and dragons.
That sounds like a great podcast, Dogs and Dragons.
It sounds like a furry campaign to me. I don't know.
But I fall into multiple geek camps. I mean, I love anything fantasy. Game of Thrones is an example. I love Marvel, Disney. Like, I'm 7 miles from Disneyland here. So
Dogs and Disney.
Dogs and Disney. Oh my gosh, done and done. But yeah, I grew up on D&D. I love it. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And Doctor Who. Doctor Who is another one.
Yes. You were a Doctor Who fan before it came back out?
No, actually, my partner introduced me to Doctor Who. I never watched Doctor Who until they introduced me, and I introduced them to Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Okay. We are currently working our way through Deep Space Nine. We watched all of Next Generation.
Oh my gosh.
Now she's going through Deep Space Nine. And I keep saying, do you still like Next Generation more? Because I love both of those shows, but I do love Deep Space Nine a little bit more. And we're getting into the like second to last season, and I'm like, every time we watch an episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this show so much.
There is one of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine you may be coming up on soon. Are you guys already in the Dominion War type stuff?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're on season 6.
We're at the end of season 6. Yes.
You may have already seen it then. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it if you have. So I want to say I think it's called like Under the Deadly Moon or something like that. And it's pretty much just about Sisko reading to his captain's log and about some really shady stuff he's doing.
That's the last episode we watched.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was one of my favorite episodes. And Garrick is amazing in that episode.
Yes.
I really liked the Ferengi episode that was on a few episodes before that, where like all the Ferengis like got together and tried to save Moogie.
It's like the Ferengi Magnificent Seven. So
it was horrible, but it was wonderful. Yes.
Yes. So yes, but I've always liked Star Trek and I like Star Wars, but I've always was a Doctor Who fan, but like from the 4th Doctor, like I'm a Tom Baker Doctor, and so I like some of the other older ones as well. And then when it came back out, I was really excited, which I'm behind several seasons now, but I really enjoy Doctor Who quite a bit.
The one that got me invested in the most recent Doctor Who is an episode that was under David Tennant's run called what's it called? It's like a one-word thing, like Blink, and it's just it's where they introduced the Weeping Angels.
The Weeping Angels, yes,
yeah.
And that was like seen a couple episodes of old Doctor Who, so we still have that. We still have to introduce her to that. But yes, the Weeping Angels are creepy.
Oh, they're horrifying.
They're awesome.
Right.
Do our pause.
Pause.
Okay.
Pause? Isn't like puppy paws? Sorry.
Okay, that's long enough. Yeah, thanks.
That's where we cut it off for the audio version.
So we used to not pause, and then I'd have to like listen to the last 30 minutes and figure out where to cut it. So now we have to pause so that I can find it a lot easier.
Kevin Counts is asking, can you recommend a decent yet inexpensive mask and snorkel that won't take up too much room in our luggage? They probably won't get a lot of use, so I don't want to spend a lot of money. So Kevin, this is what I would tell you. Snorkel-wise, I do not feel like all the bells and whistles are necessary on snorkels. Give me a tube that's comfortable. And my favorite snorkels that I use are the kind that they're made for like free divers. You can get them for like $20-$30 from a dive shop that has free diving stuff. And they will, like, you can scrunch them up into a little
You can get them
ball.
on Amazon for like $10.
Yeah. And those are easy because it's not like you got to get the perfect fit or anything. As far as masks go, you can get a decent mask for probably $30-$40.
Mm-hmm.
But I recommend, if you have a dive shop near you, go to the dive shop. You can get decent stuff on Amazon. The problem is you can't try it on, and you really need to try on a mask to make sure it fits you right. You put it up to your face, make sure your hair is not in the way, and you inhale. And if it stays on your face, then it fits. If it doesn't, then it doesn't fit. You need a different size. So you want to get a mask that fits. You don't want to skimp too much on the mask, but you can get like a good quality mask. If you go to a dive shop, they're probably only going to have decent masks. There's a lot of brands that are out there: Cressy, Scuba Pro, Aqualung. There's a bunch of brands, but what you don't want to do is go to like Target or Walmart or a sporting goods store.
Or if you're somewhere down in Florida, go to Divers Direct.
Yeah, and buy a mask. You also, when you get a mask, you have to get the coating off of it. There's a coating from the factory that'll keep it fogging up on you. You can use like a toothpaste, or you can buy like a scuba scrub, and you can scrub it off, just a little bit of grit in there. Otherwise, you won't be able to get it to defog. And then you can either buy a defog, or you can just use Nature's defog, which is just like in Jaws. It's spit. Works really well.
Or they use like baby shampoo and water.
Baby shampoo and water works good, but it's not as environmentally friendly. Spit is very environmentally friendly, by the way. Totally.
And it's always available.
Well, it's not.
It's almost always available. If it's not available from you, it's probably available from your partner.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Kevin, reach out to us and we can kind of help you out a little bit. But if you're in an area that has a good local dive shop, go there, because you can get a good mask, or you can try one on and find out kind of what fits and then find a better price. But normally dive shops still have pretty good prices in most areas. Probably $30-$40. You can get a mask. You can spend a lot more than that on a mask. Believe me, I have. But you don't have to get a mask that works. Don't get a mask that doesn't work. You're just going to have to buy another one. If it's cheap, you're going to have to buy it. You get a good mask, it's going to last you for 20 years. So, or more, if you take care of it, which isn't hard to do.
Just rinse it off after you use it.
Yeah, I'm really bad about taking care of my scuba gear. And I literally had my first mask from the time I was 15 until the time I was like 35. So there you go. But yes, so that's it. Also, I should say that next week we will have the Down Under Cruisers on here. We're going to do a 2-part episode. So we're going to have Sean and Alana on here to talk about excursions that we can do on their group cruise, which we're going on in October. And we're going to go over 2 of the islands on our podcast. And then we're going to go over and jump on their live stream. And we're going to cover the other 2 islands on there.
We're going to
ports. Yes. The other 2, but we're going to go over the excursions we can do at those ports.
Right.
And so it'll be kind of a port guide for excursions, and it should be a lot of fun.
You want to talk about what our episode the week after that's going to be?
The week after
we have plans.
We have a lot of stuff lined up. We're
which
busy.
Is like normally we're like the day before, like what are we going to do for the podcast?
Not so much.
No. We're like a month out.
So the next episode, we are going to actually do a ship tour of the ship that you were just on. Right? That's
Explore the Seas.
Explore the Seas. So we're going to just look at the blueprints of it, the
head to toe.
Yeah, and we're going to go over that with Tony Dials, because he's going to be sailing on that ship in May.
Yes, at the beginning of May. He actually requested this like a month ago when we were up north on our trip, and I was like, we got a couple episodes to go, and then we just slacked. But since that cruise is coming up, I was like, hey Tony, we're doing this thing. Let's go. So
so Scott, we may be reaching out to you to get a couple of tidbits of tips and
Of course.
information.
Maybe
about
pictures
that
if you
ship.
took any of
Oh
those.
yeah. if
Oh,
you have any
absolutely.
pictures,
Yeah, and I was
send
gonna
our way.
ask, did he indicate if it was the same itinerary or a similar itinerary to the
It's
one?
not. They're going to Jamaica and Haiti
Okay.
and
I don't know,
somewhere else.
leaving out of Miami
Leaving out of.
or Fort Lauderdale.
I'd have to look it
Or-
up.
You booked it.
I know I booked it. It's a cruise. I think I don't
And
know.
g'day to Ian. I see we got Ian in there for the Uber cruisers out there. And then we also have some other things that we have in the works, but we haven't got dates for them yet. We're going to get JT on here.
Yeah,
from Cruise
he
Talk.
just got off of a really cool cruise.
We're going to be talking to him about that. And we've got some other fun stuff lined up. So lots of
He
good-
doesn't know
lots
we're
of good
getting him
stuff.
on because we haven't asked him yet. But
I've kind of
oh, did you?
casually asked him. So yeah, he's going. Actually, JT's going to be on Cruise Radio talking about his cruise on. I think it was Lure of the Seas. So that'll be good. But yeah.
Yeah, we're like, this is new for us. It won't last. Don't worry.
Well, you know what's happening is this is kind of interesting for you, Kimbra, because I did the Cruise Geeks before, right? But we started doing Fintastic Cruising, and then the world shut down, right? So yes, cruising has been happening now for a bit, but I feel like it's really starting to get its feet underneath it again. And so our podcasts and all these different YouTube channels and stuff, we're starting to get this content build up again, because for a long time it was like, wouldn't it be nice to cruise again? Oh, hey, we can cruise again.
It was definitely
how hard is it to cruise?
It was
dangerous
definitely
to cruise?
hard doing like a year and a half of episodes when nothing was actually happening.
Yes, that was challenging. Stacy wants to know, my favorite is The Next Generation. Matt and Kimbra, did you watch the Next Generation movies as well?
Are
Scott,
we caught up on movies?
No. We are not. We've watched.
So I mean, like as far as where we should be.
No, we could watch more, because we watched Generations and we watched First Contact, and that's it. We watched all the original series movies.
I know, yeah.
But that's all the Next Generation. So we still have Nemesis and there's Insurrection. I don't know if that's the right order.
Do they
but...
fall into what we're?
Oh yeah,
watching?
yeah. We're
oh,
good.
so we should watch them.
We could watch them. They won't conflict with our Deep Space Nine viewing.
So can we do that Sunday if we don't go to Universal?
Possibly. Or we're going to Universal Sunday?
I don't know. I kind of want to go.
By the way, if there's a new Star Trek show that I've seen a lot of really great promo items on that's coming out called Strange New Worlds.
I saw that.
It looks so good.
It's like the original. It's like, are they remaking the original series?
So if you've seen Star Trek Discovery introduced a couple of the older characters from the show, and they were so popular in the Discovery show that they said, we're going to do a complete spin-off with these ones. So it's basically the story of Christopher Pike and his crew of the Enterprise, which is just it looks really, really good.
I have not I watched like a couple episodes of Discovery, and that's it. So we are, and Picard too. We've watched a few episodes of Picard, but we need to catch up on those as well. But I saw the trailers you're talking about, and it looked really cool.
We need to watch Voyager too. We were watching Voyager, and then it went off of Prime, and it's available on Hulu, but we have the version with commercials, so we stopped watching.
What's your favorite Next Gen movie?
Mine or Stacy's?
Yours.
Oh, gosh, I think Insurrection is probably my favorite.
Insurrection.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Insurrection's the one where Data just goes crazy, right? Like funny crazy. Is that the one?
I don't. I think that's
like his emotion.
Generations. I think.
Well, he does it in that one, but I feel like he like. I haven't seen Insurrection in a while.
Insurrection is the one they're trying to get people
on the
off of that planet. Yeah,
they get exposed. I like that one. You'll like that. She hasn't seen that one yet, but she loves Data. I mean, we named a snake after him.
We did. I love Data.
But First Contact is my favorite Star Trek movie.
Oh, you know what? Now I think about it, I did like First Contact a lot. It was actually very entertaining.
Love that movie. That is my favorite Star Trek I think anything probably.
Ooh.
Although Deep Space Nine, I love Next Generation, but Deep Space Nine is my favorite series.
I don't
Have
know.
you
I don't remember the movies that well. I think because they're like a one-off sort of a thing.
Yeah.
My favorite episode of Next Generation is the one that I can't remember, the Tumok and what is it?
Oh, the one with
Tarmac and Gelada Tanagra?
yes, that's it.
Okay.
I
She
love
loved
that episode.
I think my favorite Star Trek Next Generation episode is a two-parter. It's called The Best of Both Worlds, and it's where Picard gets kidnapped and turned into a Borg.
Oh, yeah.
The Locutus
episode. Yep.
Yes. Now my favorite Voyager episode is the one, I don't know what it's called, but it's the one where it's like about it's basically about evolution. And like there's an alien species that doesn't accept that they've evolved from other, and I love, as a biology person, I love that one. But
let me ask you, have you seen the Orville by any chance?
Oh, I love the
yes.
Orville. Yes.
Okay.
The new season, I think, is coming out in the next year or so.
I think so, yes. I'm a big
next few months, actually.
Oh, really? Months?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
They already have a I think a 2-minute teaser for it. If you want to go onto YouTube and watch it.
Oh, cool. We'll look for that.
It's so good.
Stacey
it's
says
just gotten so much. It's gotten amazing.
Stacey says Data goes off the rails. See, I remember him like singing in a not a runabout. Yeah, runabout. And it's like, just, I don't want to spoil anything, but you're gonna like it.
So I should hold my snake while we watch this because it's about Data.
Yes. If you've watched some of Picard, there are spoilers in there for Next Generation. Yes, we finished Next Generation.
Yeah,
so we're good with that. We've watched some of Picard. We liked Picard. We just it kind of fell off of our radar a little bit.
We started watching too many things because we're also watching Schitt's Creek, and we were watching.
Schitt's Creek is amazing.
Yes, I like Schitt's Creek. David's my favorite. I love him. What else are we watching? We were watching what's the show with the kids?
We watch all the murder shows.
Oh yeah, we watch all the murder shows. We call them murder shows, like Forensic Files, and we watch The Most Evil Killers, and we have a couple others.
Like true crime stuff.
Yeah.
The thing with the kids.
The cartoon kids that are like dirty.
Oh, the cartoon one on Netflix.
Big Head.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what it's called?
No. I don't know.
What's the cartoon kids?
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth. There we go.
That's the one about puberty, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's yes.
And Disenchantment.
That one's great.
Yeah. I feel like we were watching too many things.
Yes.
Do you watch Rick and Morty at all?
You know, I've only seen a couple episodes, and I know like Pickle Rick is really a popular thing.
It's a very smart written show. As horrible as the art may be, it's just really smartly written.
Well, and I know they make like whole Dungeons and Dragons like books for it, like Rick and Morty's D&D and stuff that's out there. It's like official stuff. So I probably need to spend more time with that. Kevin's saying his favorite episode is Where No One Has Gone Before, and I don't know exactly which episode that is.
I'm gonna look it up.
But I'm curious. Stacey says if you haven't seen all the Next Generation movies, then you haven't finished the Next Generation.
Okay.
So we have 2 more to go.
Well, so he also said something about making me sad.
Nemesis is something that are really sad that Kimbra hasn't seen yet.
Oh yeah.
The episode with that guy.
Oh, that's the guy that takes Wesley under his arms and the Traveler.
Yeah, that episode was good.
Yes.
I'm gonna be sad.
I don't, it's been so long since I've seen Nemesis. I don't remember exactly what happens in that movie. Like First Contact, I could like quote, but Insurrection and Nemesis, I've seen them multiple times, but especially I've seen Insurrection more.
I know what he's talking about, and yeah, Kimbra might be sad.
Oh,
is something gonna happen to Data?
Do you want me to spoil it for you?
No.
I mean,
okay, then I'm not gonna talk to you about it.
He's not really in Picard.
Isn't he like referenced in Picard, like he was still around or something?
No, they got rid of him because he was a
He
android.
was a danger or something. It can't be worse than them killing Wash and Firefly.
Yeah, that was sad too.
That was sad. Yeah. Yeah. Will gets promoted to ensign.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
There's something flying around.
Yeah, there's like a moth that's been tormenting me for like the last.
Well, now
30
it's
minutes.
tormenting me.
Well, good. I'm glad it's moved on.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. I need more wine.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. And yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
So Scott, again, always a pleasure talking to you. Always, I wish you were closer. You know, that's like the bummer of this cruise community thing is I've met so many cool people, but like I don't get to really hang out with them. That kind of sucks. But
we'll have
I mean,
we'll
at
have
least
to change that. Yeah.
Right. Well, yes. I mean, at least we've met.
I mean,
them.
we could
You
have
know,
like
we've met
Zoom
you.
hangouts or something.
We did that for a while, like Mallory and
Well,
Andrew.
yeah, we need to
Like,
do
we were
that
hanging out
again.
with them like once a month during the pandemic when everything was shut down, and now we haven't seen them for like. And then they came down here, and I'm
And
like,
then they got ducks, and
I'm
now
like-
they're just like living their duck life.
yeah, blame them. That's
Well,
kind
they did get married, you know, and
They
so
did.
there's
That's
that
true.
too.
So
yes, they did. So anyway,
yeah, we
Um,
need to like hang out with people.
yeah. So all right, but let's wrap it up. Yes, Down Under Cruises are going on right now. Next week we will definitely keep it to that hour so that we can get over to the Down Under Cruisers on time. It's like the one other live stream that we try and watch all the time, and we have the time slot that overlaps theirs. We should maybe think about that
What, you want to do it earlier?
or something. I don't know.
Are you going to be ready earlier?
I don't know.
I like to come home and shower and be like fresh.
I know, but I don't know. We have to think about it.
Okay.
But anyway,
Do you guys want us to go on earlier?
or is it too late?
Let
It's
us
like-
know at
still-
fantasticcruising@gmail.com.
It's still early in California, right?
Oh yeah, right now it's only 7:30.
Yeah.
So.
See, like 7:30. So.
Well, let's go move to California.
You know, if you do, I'm telling you, there's a lot of cruise ports near me. I got San Pedro, I got Long Beach, and
know,
about an hour away, I
actually-
got San Diego.
So let me tell you, I know we're trying to get off here. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
My original plan was to move to California. I was ready to up and move to San Diego. And then I started looking at apartments and I couldn't find a studio for less than $2,000. So I ended up in Florida.
Well, there is that, but keep in mind, you want Universal, we got Universal. You want SeaWorld, we got SeaWorld. You know, you want
I mean,
Disney,
I have
we got
those in
Disney.
Orlando too.
Yeah, exactly. But like they're within an hour of where I'm at, so it's like, okay, there you go.
Yeah, I was that was my original plan. And then when I saw that I probably couldn't afford it, I was like, well, I guess I can do Florida. So here I am.
They don't have alligators in California. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
But
But
we
they have
have-
Universal.
And we have whales. We have whales off the coast.
You do have whales, and whales are cool.
I've never seen a whale.
I haven't either.
Well, come on out.
There you go.
Come on out and visit.
So,
We should do that. We should do a California cruise with Scott.
Seriously.
That would be amazing. That
Yeah.
would be a lot of fun.
I got one planned for October. You're welcome to come.
Well,
We
we
have-
have a cruise this October, but we need to look at that for real.
Yeah.
Like that would be a lot
We
of
should
fun.
actually do that.
And just so we can see that other
The-
side of the country. And
Does the Hawaii cruise leaves out of California, right?
There's one that leaves out of California, but they also have one that's specifically located in Hawaii. It's the only
Right,
one.
but
that
I could
kinda-
like fly to California and hang out with you and go to Universal and then get on a cruise and cruise to Hawaii and then come back.
if you want to do a 2-week cruise, yes, that's how long it is.
you're talking about money.
My mom asked me if there was anything I wanted
Okay,
today.
All right. I don't think that's what she meant.
What?
Well,
What?
she said no to a car. A 2-week cruise would be much less.
So, what Kevin is asking where you are, Scott. Where abouts in California are you?
So I'm in Orange County, and I'm very close to Huntington Beach. So I'm about 5 miles from the beach. Not even, probably like 3 miles from the beach.
Think of all the punk shows I could see before they're all in retirement homes.
So you want to move to California?
I mean, there's a
they have-
lot that appeals to me about California.
Do they have the parks with nature and stuff like they do here?
Yeah, it's different nature.
Ever heard of Yosemite?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good point.
There's that, but I mean, also, the Aquarium of the Pacific might have some openings if you're ever.
I'd like to go to
interested in
Monterey
looking
Bay.
at that.
Giant Pacific octopus.
Oh yeah.
Sea otters.
Yes, you can see otters.
We have river otters, but we don't have sea otters.
Which I've never seen.
You can swim with otters here if you want. They actually have like little places in San Diego where you can go in a hot tub and baby otters come and like snuggle with you.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, not joking.
You're making this sound really appealing.
Because otters, like the experiences I know with otters is they like look cute and cuddly and then they rip your face off.
Not the ones that apparently are domesticated or partially domesticated associated with this.
Not the ones that you snuggle with here.
You know, I know that dingoes in the wild will rip your face off too, but most people have dogs like Reno, for example, and I don't think Reno would rip your face off unless you didn't feed him for a while. So
I don't even know where Reno is.
He went to bed. No, he's down there
He's
sleeping.
down there. Sometimes he goes to bed.
Kevin's in Huntington Beach.
Oh, really? I'm in Fountain Valley, if that gives Kevin any idea of where I'm at.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But if he's in Huntington Beach, he's like right near the pier, probably. So that's very keen.
Very nice.
All
right, Scott. Well, goodbye to everybody out there. And Scott, again, so much fun talking to you. Love talking to you. And we will talk to you again soon.
Always a pleasure, my friends. You guys take it easy. Have a great one.
right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.